hadn't been rain for a long time. I even looked. There was like literally NASA satellite imagery of like you could see like the hot spot. Like and it doesn't necessarily have to be like smoking. From my understanding, it could be like under the earth. It could be like hot.
Right.
And then any kind of wind condition, you could like. I don't know how it really works from a scientific perspective, but it's like starting a fire. It's like starting a fire in a campsite. Like you can, under the right conditions, the fire will start. So I think the issue here in terms of the liability is that the fire department is supposed to go back in and check it to make sure that it has been put out.
Got it.
And because they didn't do that, the liability is now on them in terms of the damage. I mean, there's billions of dollars of damage now, which is contradictory to what they said, which is like the fire is dead out. We did our job.
What were they saying was the original cause of the fire?
Well, they said it was just like an act of God. It was like, there's no way to stop this because it was so crazy, the wind and
Poseidon or whatever.
Yeah.
Zeus did it.
Yeah, exactly. And this is what Spencer Pratt's been going on about. So he's like, this is not just some crazy thing. It could have been easily preventable if you guys had done the job.
Well, what was the issue with the fundraising? Were they giving the
the fundraising? So there's actually, I think they're getting sued as well now. Because that was like from like 6 or 8 months ago when I was doing that video. But what happened there was like they collected a bunch of money from this like concert, right? This like benefit concert, and they're supposed to go to the fire victims. But then when you partner with the nonprofits, a lot of that money first just gets absorbed by the nonprofit for like administrative things.
Yeah, holiday parties, shit like that, or whatever.
Exactly, and then. From what I understand, like I've talked to a few residents, like we didn't see any of the money. Like, how do we get this? And then there's people or organizations that can sign up to get that money distributed to them. And there would be other companies like diaper companies or whatever it is, like services.
Diaper companies?
So like, for example, these companies come in and say, well, we can help distribute diapers to residents that have lost their homes. But then now that creates another bureaucratic step for if you've lost your home, like you just want a check, like just give me some money so I can like survive. I don't want to go to this organization to like collect a diaper because I have a child. It just makes things like way more complicated that way.
Understand. So it's a lot of they'll donate it to these other places, maybe a friend's charity, whatever this is.
Exactly.
And the next thing you know, it's been distributed to all these different spots, and there's not any.
And then the residents, they don't know like where the spots are. And so it's a lot easier for them to say, hey, this is the deed to my house. It burned down. Can I collect my $5,000 or whatever the distribution was? It would be a lot easier to do it that way. But the people who organize this is the Ballmer Group, which owns the Clippers and the stadium in LA.
But you think they would want to then do the most human thing then? If it's they're owning the Clippers, you know what I'm saying? They want the fans to come to their games.
Well, I think they thought they were doing the humane thing, but it's like, I think it's just like the corruption of the system. It's like, well, we have all these charities that we already work with, so let's like bring them into the fold of this. But it's not like the best solution. The best solution is just to give people money and help. But then now they're just enriching the people who are their friends. Like all the
over here.
They get you just want to look cut.
Administrative costs related to running nonprofit organizations. This is from CBS News. You had examples of funds used for voter outreach efforts towards podcasters, fungus planning. Those examples are pretty troubling. I do want to be clear, there were many organizations that got funds, nonprofits that are certainly very worthy nonprofits.
I think there was one, I was talking to Aloe Black, because he's involved, his house burned down. And he was like, I don't understand why the community college of like Pasadena is getting money for this. Like they didn't, like why do they need money?
Right.
I don't know. So it's I think it's more of like, hey, if you want it to maximally benefit the people,
Carried on the wind.
Show record that you're in his house, right, and they come and collect the check versus all this bureaucratic thing where people can take the problem with California is like they want it, they have the problem that they need to solve. They need to create a solution always involve like people being able to
Draw strength from nature.
and by the time the money goes a lot less of it.
Oh wait, Robertson is an attorney representing California fire victims in a civil case against the city. He said public records was given by the LA Times and credibility was
Didn't take a lot of damage, huh?
the fire was not properly extinguished. Okay. A new report from the LA Times claims the Los Angeles Fire Department tried to protect the air ambassador's reputation of calm. It was smoldering right on top of the ground. We have numerous video that called 911.
there's so much evidence that the fire wasn't proper.
Got it.
So there's the state of California is taking care of land, and I think
Let's
now
get back to it.
it's funny. I heard Spencer talking about this. Karen Bass is like trying to join that lawsuit against Gavin Newsom. She's like trying to, she's like, oh, I'm also been robbed.
Enemy spotted.
As well as Gavin Newsom. They're all pointing fingers.
I mean, that's
But then, okay, so but then the outcome of this is like
Enemy here.
being burned down and then corporations are buy these homes. I think you could probably look up a stat like more than 50% of houses that have been purchased in LA after fires were purchased by corporations.
in fire
Time to get
districts or just
clever.
anywhere?
No, in the fire areas that burned down. I saw there was a headline of this for sure. Like, the houses that have burned,
Get them off the
not
objective.
just regular.
Understand.
Heal me.
I think.
Let me see if we
We
got
gotta fact check that.
Investors are buying close to half the empty lots in LA burn zones, report says. Online real estate listings are called Redfin. Analyzing transactions in LA County burn zones during July, August, and September, they found that about 40% of Pacific Palisades vacant lots.
力挽狂澜。
Is there some benefit? Maybe they're putting it into just a business or an LLC. I wonder if there's some other benefit of doing it that way. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe there's a different, maybe it's insurable
Well,
that
that
way.
wasn't called
Maybe
for.
regular, you know what I'm saying? Like I wonder if there's something else that addresses that.
I don't think so. I mean, it seems like at the very least you could argue the size of the investor. Are they BlackRock or
Got it.
that could be something discussed. But it's certainly not because you want your home and you live there.
Carried on the wind.
It's not like guys buying a home to like rent it out or to flip it or something like that. Yeah, which is a big deal for home ownership. And you want people to
Yeah.
Set by design.
Let's get into that because that's kind of correct. Go down some rabbit holes with one of the lead hairs.
For sure. Well, so TikTok, they never tell you why.
Yeah, none of these places kind of do.
No, you don't know.
Got one here.
You're banned. Some people have warning strikes before they're banned. I was
My gift to you. Over there.
I was banned twice. The first time I was you can only now context clues. The first time was when I did a video about how I
力挽狂澜。
Now we're talking. They're taking the objective.
involved in that. I got banned after that, but then I was able to get that record actually through a friend who used get me back.
Enemy
So
here.
that was that.
Crystallized.
Happened very shortly after I was stopped anti-Semitism.
Oh yeah, the week they're doing the weekly.
Out of my way.
I didn't know they were doing the weekly now.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah, there you go. I remember Tucker Carlson was on this too.
Yeah.
Who won?
Tucker.
Oh yeah, it's definitely pretty bad. What was one of the takeaways from the hockey game?
Well, I thought it was really interesting how he was so open about
Let the Kitsune guide you.
based on
Set by design.
not thought it was no. He was talking about how conservation this whole land is like do this all these countries and
EMP activated. You're behind me now.
promotion for Israel.
I don't give up that easily.
Well, that's certainly the case. He also
He's the ambassador, right?
he is the ambassador, but he also met with Jonathan Pollard, the spy, convicted spy, traitor to America at the American.
I'm here.
But I meet with people all the time. It was more of like I was there with him.
Bingo.
Okay.
Let's get back to it.
Yeah.
So
But I have a theory around this because I was like, why would they want to do this? Why would they want to telegraph it so lucrative to people and basically say that Israel controls American foreign policy? That's kind of a crazy thing to do. And why was Tucker even allowed to do this? And I have this theory of like,
Watch here.
both parties, the Democrat and Republicans, they need to create these release valves for the base in order to keep it intact. Like you have that. I see them as kind of release valves to get the Democratic Party instead of going to last election, Michigan, they had this
Take the objective. Follow me now.
Start by design. We're pretty good together. Objective spot.
that was actually a Democratic
I feel all warm inside.
to insert that in because if they didn't vote for the committee, they would have voted for the Green Party. People would vote Green Party.
I see. So they created this other thing that made them feel some type of way, but
exactly.
really it was owned by the
Exactly.
Democratic
So
Party.
it was.
Right, and they both do that. I think you're right on both sides.
And Tucker's the
I learned
release
from
valve, I
that.
think, on the right, where it's like people are kind of fed up with the whole like prioritizing Israel before everything
Restoring
else. So Tucker creates this like, okay, at least somebody's saying this stuff, so like we feel a little bit better.
But do you think he's an instrument of the Republican Party to do that?
I wouldn't know. You would have to ask him about that. I think he's, from my understanding, I only know because you know him. I've never spoken to Tucker, so I don't know what, I don't really know anything about him. But I think in general, he seems to be outside sort of a guy who wants to do the right thing.
Let the kitsune guide you.
It seems like he's more
Soothing your
力挽狂澜， setting out the welcome mat.
They're attacking me.
but he could still be used by the party. Right? Sure. So, yo, you want to do this?
Strength
We'll
from
allow you to
nature.
do this.
Right. Oh, I see what you're saying. Right, like even that might even be a way of being used that you don't even realize it.
Exactly.
Because you give somebody a, like, okay, you can interview this guy about it. He'll say something. It'll let people have some will be like, oh, I was right. It lets a little bit of steam out of a carrot.
Exactly.
That's one thing I realized about when I was sitting with Bernie recently is, the guy, I wanted Trump and Bernie to be on the same ticket years ago.
That would have been wild, huh?
It would have been great. Different views on the same ticket, like a president and a vice president. Then whoever knew how to be the vice president
Get
in
them
the
off the
election.
objective.
That's how they used to do it, the first 3 elections.
That's how it should be done, because then you have somebody that you have differing opinions, who has differing opinions than you, and you guys are in the same office, and you guys are figuring things out,
targeting me.
right? So do that and sit, right?
Behind you.
What I realize, it's like, yeah, he's coming here and yelling things. He's been yelling the same things for 30 years.
Thanks for the touch-up.
Nothing is really been done. Yelling the same thing for 30 years. Nothing is getting. It's all like you start to realize that the politicians and the people, like politicians are coming on a regular podcast now and just yelling at the people like, we've got to do this. It's like, motherfucker, we voted you to go.
Playing around.
Don't vote us to send you up the mountain and then just come back down and be like, we gotta do it.
Soothing your
Like,
wounds.
just say we gotta do it. So that's when I realized, oh, it's just this, and I think everybody realized it, that
It's a little bit like a feud.
and it's yes. And I think everybody's starting to see that, and so I think it's yeah.
力挽狂澜，
Let the kitsune guide you. EMP activated.
setting out
It's like when we go take it's not like some bullshit about democracy or this and that. It's like, oh yeah, no, we do want the oil. That is a primary reason. Over there, you really don't have to do this whole rigmarole.
Secure the objective.
There, it's like,
Enemy spotted.
then you decide to take it. A lot of people do that. Better for U.S. Or U.S. standing in the world to like do more diplomacy to get what we want, versus just like straight up just sending aircraft carriers or like, you know, the SEAL team to go in there and do the thing.
I agree. I mean, and I think there's a part of us now that, like, you're even looking back at historical, like, I'll watch it, and it's like, I remember
Like basically the Iran strike is literally the plot is the same. The new
yeah. Oh, I blame Miles Teller for that. And he knows it. I'm just joking, Miles. But you mean the original one? You mean the original? Oh, the new Top Gun.
The new Top Gun with Miles Teller, yeah.
Oh, so you're saying that?
Because that was a strike on a uranium facility in Iran. That was the plot of the movie.
Oh wow. And do you think that they knew? Like, okay, hold on. There's a couple rabbit holes here that we're kind of burying eggs in here. But first, let me. You mentioned Venezuela, right? What do you think happened in Venezuela? Because here are things that just a regular person I heard. There was minerals that we wanted over there. They were one of the few programs that had like their own financial system, so they weren't on the world financial system. And then that they had done something with voting machines. That was something I kept seeing online, that they had some part to do with the voting machines. What in hindsight, what did you see about Venezuela, or what were some of the kind of the conspiracy, the ivermectin holes you were in?
Well, I think Venezuela is really interesting in the sense that, yeah, like you said, they weren't a part of this system, but they were kind of forced into that position.
But they weren't a part of what system? The financial system?
The Western financial system, because they've been sanctioned by the United States for like 20 years, roughly. And I only learned about this when I was digging into this, because I don't know much about Venezuela, but I wanted to learn about the history. So I was like, okay, let me do some searches on the internet and see what they're telling us in the news versus like what the history books are saying. And so it was like, well, I can't remember what year, but like Hugo Chavez came to power as like the socialist party in Venezuela, and he started nationalizing the oil, and then he started doing programs to like, improve, life expectancy and other important metrics in the country, like making people like earn more money, all this stuff. So like people's what do they call this? They call them
quality of life.
Yes, people's quality of life was improving in Venezuela. But the U.S. didn't like the fact that they were, socialists, so we don't want socialism. So then the Obama administration actually deemed Venezuela like an enemy to America. So then we started sanctioning them. So once we started sanctioning them, they had to start doing deals with other countries that weren't a part of the U.S. system. So they started doing deals with like Russia and China. And now fast forward 20 years later, we're like, these guys are selling oil to China, they're selling oil to Russia, we don't like this. But then you look back, like, well, you forced them to sell them to those countries. Those are the only countries that aren't a part of your bloc. So then those are the only countries they could sell it to. So then they're like, oh, the Venezuelan economy is so bad. They've, everybody lives in poverty. It was like part of the reason for that is like you don't allow them to trade with any of our allies.
Right, we cut them off at a time when they were growing.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, why would we want to stop them from growing stronger, do you feel like?
Well, because their government was socialist. So now all of a sudden you have a socialist regime
that's doing well.
Doing well right in sort of your backyard area, which is not ideal for sort of our capitalist kind of style. Like you don't want an example of that here. That's just my opinion. So then they started sanctioning. So it's a bipartisan thing. It's not just Trump government. Obama government started this, right? With the sanctioning. Trump added on, made it more, robust, the sanctions, and then all of a sudden, wow, we got to get this guy out of power because, he's smuggling drugs or something like that. But also, he was very open about the oil. Like, he's like, we got to get the oil, but then part of it also, too, I think is, the Israel part is like a side piece, but it does play an important piece. It's basically...
What do you mean the Israel part?
So, like, basically whatever country that opposes Israel, they basically tell us, like, we got to take that country out. We got to do a regime change. So like a lot of that is in the Middle East, but there's some other countries, for example, in Venezuela, they are very opposed to the Israeli government. Maduro was very open about calling what's happening in Gaza a genocide. And so they're like, we got to get rid of this. And this is something I learned 20 years ago. there was an opposition guy. I can't remember his name, but he was running for president, and the media kind of slandered him, or they smeared him as a homosexual and a Zionist. So to me, that's like, okay, that means within the Venezuelan culture, Zionism is a bad thing. They're ascribing to this guy. So I think Israel come in and say, this is a country that doesn't really support our existence. We should do a regime change.
I see. So you're thinking that part of this was that Israel wanted to come in and have some effect on a country that doesn't support them.
Exactly.
Got
and
it.
you see that happening with other countries that are not. I mean, Iran is probably the main one right now. That's like the last of their list. I saw you talking to Dave Smith about this, right? There's like a list of 7 countries in the
From
middle.
like the neocons and
Yeah,
stuff like that,
exactly,
like
yeah.
wanting to take over.
Yeah, exactly. So then Iran is on that list, so it's like that's why we got to take it out. Even though we have no nuclear weapons at this point, supposedly. They told us.
They did. Well, I mean, one of the things is Henry Capriles.
Thank you. Yes, this is the guy I was talking about.
Enrique Capriles Radonsky is a Venezuelan politician and lawyer who served as the 36th governor of Miranda. He ran against Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela's 2013 presidential election. Maduro and his supporters spread rumors about Capriles' homosexuality as a smear tactic, including public slurs. Enrique Capriles Radonsky was labeled a Zionist by Venezuelan state media and Chavez Maduro allies. These accusations framed him as tied to international Zionism, often alongside his Jewish heritage. Oh, so he was a Jewish guy, despite his Catholic faith. Huh. Well, it seemed like they shouldn't have done that to him, but I guess that's how the media works, right?
That's how the media works, yeah. It's a state-controlled media, which we have a lot of nowadays with, like, CBS News is sort of, I would say, state-controlled media since it was sold off to Larry Ellison.
Yeah, Barry Weiss started
Barry Weiss, yeah.
controlling over there. How do you feel about that's been since she took over, kind of?
Well, it hasn't really worked out. I think once she took it over, it was very overtly clear what they were trying to do, right? They were doing pieces that were saying good stuff about Marco Rubio. They were hailing him as some kind of genius guy. They were also doing pro-Israel propaganda. So it was I think it's very clear to people who consume the news what was going on. And it's actually, I think that's a playbook that's maybe a little bit outdated because not that many people get their news directly from CBS News anymore. There's like, that crowd is decreasing. It's like old people. I don't want to say.
Yeah, no. Well, a lot of people don't even have cable anymore. I don't even know where you would find it. Some of it is, I don't even know where you'd find it. It's like it used to be you knew where the news channels were.
It used to be like you knew who the nightly anchor was at all these news, like the Walter Cronkites or the
and now it's
Peter
confusing.
Jennings,
Now you have like
Peter
Don
Jennings.
Lemon like tickling some guy in a church or whatever, you know? Just trying to like tickle the holy water out of some honky or whatever, and you're like, what is even happening anymore?
So I think just an outdated strategy. They think, oh, I want to buy the news so I can control the news.
Got it.
But it turns out people don't really like that. People know that. And that's the same thing that happened in the Washington Post too, right? Jeff Bezos bought the Washington Post. He thought they were going to be able to do kind of pro-Bezos propaganda for him. Turns out all his viewers or readers hated that. They canceled. And now, I think they just laid off like a third of their staff.
Wow. And a lot of that media, it's just older media.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like, some of that realm is changing. It's just like, not a changing of the guard, but it's like, people want to come and just listen to something in a place where they feel like it's not being controlled anyway. You know?
And I think there's that way is old. So then there's other ways they're trying to subversively control independent media as well. And we can get into that.
What's this brand?
Aldi brand. These parts we don't pay big brand markups.
So we save money?
Darn tootin'.
Differences that save you money. It's an Aldi thing.
While you're still practicing New Year, new routines, have you ever stopped to think about what your shower water is doing to your skin and hair? Most people spend thousands every year on skin care and hair care, trying to fix dryness, breakouts, and dull hair. Dull hair? Without realizing the real problem starts before the products even go on. It's the quality of your shower water. And that's where Jolie comes in. Jolie is a beauty wellness company with a clinically proven filtered shower head designed to remove chlorine and heavy metals that can damage your skin and hair. It installs in minutes, fits all showers, looks great, delivers amazing pressure, thank you, and now starts at just $98. Head to jolieskinco.com/Theo to get yours. That's JOLIESKINCO.com/Theo. And if you or your loved one doesn't love it, you can return it for a full refund within 60 days, no questions asked. Wow. It's also available on Amazon. Start the year with better water. Get Jolie for $98 today. Look, when your company is growing fast, order fulfillment can make or break your success. ShipStation's intelligence-driven platform brings order management, rate shopping, inventory and returns, warehouse systems, and comprehensive analytics all in one place. Wow. Saving customers 15 hours per week on fulfillment. That's huge. With ShipStation, everything you need to manage getting orders to customers is in one place. Connect to over 200 sales channels instead of 5 to 7 disconnected tools. You've now got one tool. It's doing it all. ShipStation compares rates across all major global carriers, UPS, USPS, and FedEx, to find you the best shipping option on every order, and with discounts up to 90% off. Try ShipStation free for 60 days with full access to all features. Yup. No credit card needed. Go to ShipStation.com and use code Theo for 60 days for free. 60 days gives you plenty of time to see exactly how much time and money you're saving on every single shipment. That's ShipStation.com, code Theo. ShipStation.com, code Theo.
There's other ways they're trying to subversively control independent media as well. We can get into that if you want later on.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got deplatformed, so that was from TikTok, you said, and it was from something that was...
Well, I think it was related to me being named Anti-Semite of the Week. Okay. And I think they have like tight connections because TikTok's moderation team is run by an IDF soldier.
Is it?
Yeah. She was hired recently to run moderation at TikTok. She's an American who moved to Israel, then got Israeli citizenship. There it is.
Erica Mindell. It's a pretty name. IDF soldier, public policy manager of hate speech at TikTok. Well, did you say something that was hate speech?
Well, according to them, yes, because I've been really critical of the Israeli government, the genocide, all these subversive tactics. They lied to us about all kinds of stuff. So I do report on that, and that is now considered hate speech at TikTok. I'm criticizing the Netanyahu government, right, for what they've done. That is now considered because of the definition. Now they're basically saying anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. That is the definition that they're all adopting, including like the ADL. So if I criticize the government, that's sort of a proxy for criticism of Jewish people.
Well, to me that seems bizarre. I mean, I'm at the Comedy Store last night and people are having jokes that are anti-Israel and the crowd is going nuts, right? The entire crowd is cheering in those moments. You know, it seems to be a very popular sentiment that people aren't going to support a government that's doing what I believe is largely believed by most people these days to be a genocide or to be some people call it a new Holocaust or whatever. People call it different things, right?
Right.
But that most people believe that it's wrong, right? People saw it. You can't trick my heart. You know what I'm saying? It's just like if the media's been telling me for years with a Holocaust definition that this is wrong, then you can't show me the same thing and say it's not wrong for some reason. But also to not attach that to my Jewish friends. Like I had Jewish friends who are in the audience this weekend, and I make anti-Israel jokes, and none of my friends have a problem with it, you know? So I don't know how one really connects to the other, you know? And I don't know if is that a problem of someone who's just trying to have a voice? Or is that an Israel's problem that they need to figure out with their own behaviors? Does that make any sense to you?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. I think part of it is too, it's kind of a little bit dark, I think, what I'm about to say, but I think part of them wants to create more anti-Semitism. That's like sort of the goal, is like you are not anti-Semitic at all. You don't have any hatred towards Jewish people. You think everybody should be treated the same, regardless of their creed or color, race, immutable traits, or whatever. And they want to make it so that you actually don't like them, because part of the Israel project is getting Jewish people to move to Israel. This is what I've been told. This is what I've been researching for the last couple of years. Like, that's part of their strategy. There was a very famous Israeli podcaster who was like, "Oh, I love Mamdani." And they're like, "Why do you love Mamdani? He's like an anti-Semite." I don't believe that's true, but they're saying, "Hey, Mamdani's really anti-Israel." He's like, "This is great because this is gonna get people to move to Israel. That's what I want." And so I think that's part of the strategy. There's also another thing too with like a group like the Anti-Defamation League, that their whole job is like to reduce anti-Semitism, right? That their job is combating anti-Semitism.
Well, that makes sense. Like, I mean, I think you want to be able to protect like people.
Right. No, so the crux of that is then you get
Has
into
the ADL spoken out against the Israeli government?
No. They're pretty much run by the Israeli guys. So that's the problem with the ADL.
That would seem like something they should do, is speak out against the leader.
No, the ADL has long been. I did a whole mini documentary.
But does it make sense what I'm saying? Like, why wouldn't you speak out against the bad guy?
Because the ADL is acting on behalf of the Israeli government as sort of a spy organization in America. I mean, you could look at it as ADL.
So they're not a free-thinking group. They're a group that is a...
Yeah, they're a civil... They call themselves a civil rights group, but what they're actually doing is trying to, like, create more anti-Semitic behavior in the United States. Because if you think about it this way, like, you have an organization, your whole thing is, like, combating anti-Semitism. So let's say one day there's no more anti-Semitism. What happens to this organization?
You're out of work.
You're out of work. So then they got to create more anti-Semitism. So every year the ADL is
crazy, dude.
Every year the ADL has published the anti-Semitism report. It's gone up every single year. The same guy is still there. I'm like, if you were the CEO of a company and your job, you're doing shittier and shittier job, wouldn't you get fired? Wouldn't somebody else go in there? You would need that number to come down. But every year the number's going up. The donations are going up. They're in a very nice building in New York City. On Park Avenue. So like there's a whole like industrial complex. Same thing with the homeless. I make the analogy of the homeless industrial complex in California, where so much money is pouring into homelessness, but what happens if we actually solve this problem for all these organizations? Like, you need this to continue, so then nothing gets done.
It's the same thing. You need all these things to continue, right? You need the racism to continue. You need crime, because then you have people living in fear, right? Like, you need all these things, right? Because it does start to feel like we're living in a theater that's sort of controlled.
Yes.
Well, let's get into some stuff that's kind of current.
Okay.
And do you feel like an anti-Semite? Did you feel like that was fair that they said that?
Well, no, absolutely not. You can go to that article. There's nothing in there that I said. I don't. Well, first of all, speaking personally, like, I don't have any problem. I have a lot of Jewish friends. I went to school in New York. So I'm very sort of connected in that community. And some of
in the bagel belt.
I mean, I would never sort of. I try to be like. I'm like so scared of even saying anything like that. You know what I'm saying?
What, the bagel belt?
Yeah, I don't.
That's funny, dude.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love good bagels anyway? My friend Max is opening a bagel shop in Florida right
I know.
now.
I love a good. I mean, every time I'm in New York, I'm eating bagels like every other meal.
Dude, what I don't like is when you go there and they don't have cinnamon raisin bagels.
Is that your thing?
Well, I just like to have it as an option. If you're not giving that as an option, it makes me question you. It's like, what if a kid comes in here? What if somebody who wants to have a little bit of a sweeter day comes in?
Well, they got the blueberry for that.
Yeah, I don't believe in that one. Anyway, what does it say? James Lee is a conspiracist who brands himself as a champion of the independent thought. He uses his persona to spread long-standing anti-Semitic tropes and conspiracy theories. His commentary distorts the nature of anti-Semitism and vilifies Jewish communities. Damn, James.
But I challenged them to find an example of me vilifying a Jewish community, you know?
Yeah, well, it says right here, they aren't even hiding it anymore. Israel owns America.
Well, I mean, they do.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, man. You know, because so much now there's like, why are we giving money to Israel? You hear that all the time, right? It's not even, something that people are scared to even talk about anymore. It's like, what are we sending all this money to Israel for? And really just why is there the connection, right? Like and there's not like a clear answer sometimes. It's never like, hey, this is our ally, because, this is, but yeah, you're like, we can't pay our nurses, we can't, I'm saying we don't have, like, we have issues in our public schools. More people are choosing to homeschool than ever, which is just another burden on the family, really, right? Our food supply has been deemed
toxic.
Toxic,
Yeah.
right? That's something that we're battling right now. 70% of young men can't serve in the military because of the physical shape that they're in, right? Like, so you start to wonder, why do we have this extra money to just send to a place, right? So that I think is a very fair question. And I've been thinking about it a lot, and I don't think we're just sending money to a place. I do believe that our country's owned by Israel, and that, so you just give the money to the boss. So it's not us, they're just getting the money that's theirs.
That's theirs, yeah.
That's what I started to realize, because I'm like, yeah, because if you do this for so long and it doesn't make any, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's no answer. It's like, oh, well, that's the boss coming in just getting his money, you know? And so, yeah, I just think that that's kind of where we're at. And I don't mean that in an un-American way. I think there's still like a lot of like strength and heart in the idea of America. But I've thought for a long time that we're just like an LLC, like we're a shell company that's owned by Israel. And that's honestly just what it feels like more and more.
Yeah, well, part of because it's like we're supposed to be like allies. So then we're supposed to have like cooperation. You get something out of it, we get something out of it. But then I recently was listening to a podcast with that CIA guy. I don't know if you've talked to him, John Kiriakou.
The long guy with the curly hair?
No, John Kiriakou looks like that. Yep.
And is he a good guy?
He's a good. So he was the one that whistle blew the torture program after Iraq in Guantanamo and those places. Like, and he went to jail for 2 years because he violated some statute or whatever for telling us about that we were torturing, you know, people.
Oh, he told it?
Yeah.
CIA whistleblower John Kiriakou, who exposed the treatment of al-Qaeda suspects held in secret prisons, told the Bureau today it was now down to journalists to tell the full story about the intelligence agency torture program because politicians did not have the will. Okay, got it. So I just wanted to get some clarity on who he is.
So anyways, he was asked, is there like one particular intelligence agency that you just did not trust? He was like, yeah, Mossad. And he was telling the story about how every time Mossad comes into the CIA headquarters, they try to drop off some gift that has like a bug in it, so the listening device. And every single time they would catch them, be like, guys, you have to stop bringing these bugging devices into our headquarters. And eventually, I think the Mossad is no longer allowed at CIA headquarters because they keep trying to bug our conference rooms.
But they have access to our conference rooms. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you think that that's... Oh, this was in the past? You mean recently?
Past.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So he was the one who was he was just saying that those were some stories from there?
Yeah, so I'm like, this is not how an ally should act, right? Because we're supposed to be partners. Like, why are you trying to bug or, spy on us?
Right.
That's one thing. I think Tucker was talking to Ted Cruz, like, should Israel spy on us? Like, is that something that they should do as an ally? So that's what I'm saying. Is like, this relationship is like, a little bit like
I think there's monitoring their employees.
Yeah, like a little bit of an abusive relationship is what's going on,
Yeah.
right? That's kind of how I would view it in like a more like just like a layman way of putting it is like I think this is an abusive relationship. They keep kicking us, and then we keep going back to them and like saying, please, well, we'll do better next time, and we'll help you, and this and that.
Well, what spurned this? I mean, the thing that spurned this is the stuff in Gaza. That's what spurned so much of this. People looking at Israel and being like, what is going on here? Right?
That's when it broke for the regular American public. I was definitely not looking at Israel before. The only weird thing that I saw that kind of got my sort of red flags raised was about a year before that, Israel had killed a journalist, an Al Jazeera journalist, who was, I believe, an American Palestinian. And they said, no, they were caught in the line of fire or something like that. But then it later came out that, they just executed her. And I'm like, what's going on here? This is very bizarre. Like, why are they able to just kill journalists without any kind of international condemnation or anything like that, without any accountability? So there's something weird going on here. And then October 7th happened, and that's when I think everybody started looking in, and you do one search and like, oh, this is what. And Charlie Kirk was one of the first ones. Like, I think 2 days after, he was like, this is one of the, why did this even happen? Like, was there a stand down order kind of situation? Like, how are they even able to come across the border? This is one of the most secure borders in the world. How did it take them 6 hours? He's like, it takes 45 minutes to fly from Jerusalem to the border. Why are you, what's going on here? Was there something to then create this excuse to then now launch like a counteroffensive,
right?
Quote unquote counteroffensive, and basically turn Gaza into rubble?
And do you think that that's what happened? What do you feel like about it?
Well, I mean, this is based on my conjecture. Is that I do think that.
What does conjecture mean?
Conjecture is like just me, sort of coming up with a claim without knowing all the information because of course I'm not in the security briefing
So
room.
guessing or whatever.
I'm guessing a little bit.
But Asian guessing has got to be better than just regular white guessing, yeah?
Some would say that.
Like when you guys guess, dude, I bet it's, you know. I'm
Look,
just
I
saying.
got a pretty good track record of my conjectures. I'll just put it that way.
Got it.
So like, there's no other explanation. Like why, it would at most take 1 hour for them to respond.
Got
It
it.
took them 6 hours to respond. Doesn't make any sense. So then it's kind of like 9/11. It's like we kind of knew some shit. Like somebody knew something, right? There was like the shorting of the airline stocks. There were people taking insurance out on the building. Somebody knew something. In this situation, it seemed like there were people in the Israeli government who knew that this was about to come, and they just kind of let it happen, therefore creating the pretense to then destroy Gaza.
Well, there was interesting that there was allegedly plans to like build buildings and that sort of thing in Gaza years earlier. I don't know if that's true or not, but I've heard that somewhere. Allegedly, that
And that's
there
not
was
the new thing with Jared Kushner and the new like Gaza.
Well,
plan.
yeah, it was like let's do the mall, or they were going
Yeah.
to build a Five Guys, But who's going to go eat on top of
That's what I'm saying.
a haunted burial site of hundreds of thousands of people?
That's what I'm saying, and it's like, do you really want a vacation there with your family? Would you take your kids? It's like, oh, we're gonna go to, I mean, I guess good real estate, but it's
But
like,
what if you're playing on the beach and there's just a bunch of bones in the sand? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, I wouldn't want to go there. I'll just put it that way.
Let's go down some of the rabbit holes, like, because these are things you like to investigate or get curious about. Let's start with Epstein and the files release. What do you think's happening with the document release? Because it seems very odd, as a regular guy, that we're getting documents, right? They're coming this years later. Both parties have been in Democratic and Republican have been in office since then, right? More than ever, it seems like both parties are just the same party with a different name.
That's literally my shirt.
Oh yeah, different brands, same ingredients. Oh, that's hilarious. Dude. So true. Oh, it's almost like that Cola Pepsi war a little bit.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, that's great. And so it's just an interesting time. And the names that are redacted aren't the names of the victims. It's just like there's so much going on there. What do you think about it?
Well, I mean, they tried. I mean, I don't think they thought these files would ever come out. Neither party.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think they thought. I think they were going to bury this forever.
So you don't think it's a strategic release right now?
No, I think right now is like, this is what we're going to offer because they were forced through that vote that Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna, big credit to them, to have the political courage to keep going.
And we had them both on here.
Yeah,
Shout out, bro. I will say that shit. Pull up. But anyway, go on. So take us into some of that. Yeah, what are some of the things that you feel like? Yeah, so you don't think it's strategic?
I don't think. I think this is a
So you
release.
think so
they
you
didn't
think
want
it's
to
an
do.
effect that they didn't want to do?
They didn't want to do this.
They didn't want to do this.
And so that's why you have all the names of the perpetrators being redacted. Right? They're only supposed to redact the victims' names. A lot of the perpetrators' names are redacted, and now they're forcing them to unredact them. There's a whole process here. But I think this is like, here, we'll put something out because we're legally compelled to do it by the vote. Right? It was like passed unanimously. I think there's one person who voted present, and because they were forced. You don't want to be on the record voting against disclosure, putting pedophiles in jail. Like, you don't want to be that guy or gal, right? So then they were all forced to vote for it because they did not want that to get to the House floor or the Senate, but they had to vote for it because once it was there, you don't want to be voting against it. Like, what, you're trying to cover up for billionaire pedophiles? You don't want to be on the record doing that. So I think this release was a result of that. And in terms of the Epstein stuff, like what we're going to get into, I just want to say, like, there are a lot of people that have looked into Epstein for decades. Like, if you want to do a whole episode on Epstein, like, you got to bring in somebody like Whitney Webb or Julie Brown. She's from the Miami Herald. She's been covering Epstein since like 2005.
Yeah, we're trying to get her in, actually.
So I'm just prefacing, like, hey, we're going to look into this Epstein stuff, but I want to give credit to, like, those are the people that are like the Epstein experts. I'm just a regular dude that looking at the files.
Yeah, they've been digging. You just came to kind of till the soil a little.
Exactly. So then one big thing that I wanted to start out looking at was to answer the big question. Do you remember when Kash Patel went in front of Congress and he said, we have zero evidence that Epstein trafficked any young girls to anybody?
100%.
Right? And everybody was like, what? How is that possible? You were railing about the Epstein files for years, and now you go in and you say you found nothing? And so that was one of the first things, like, hey, do you want to play that first?
And this is my boy out of Louisiana right here. Shout out.
You've seen most of the files. Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself?
Himself. There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday. that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one
For the information that we have
in the files.
in the case file.
Okay.
All right.
Dude, I believe, I'm not joking,
Yeah.
there's people that say that they created like a fake office and everything for Patel, and we're only giving him certain information.
Oh, so he didn't see the stuff that was.
So, well, even what he said, if you listen there, from this limited, he said, did he say limited stuff I've seen, or from what I've seen, which has been limited? So who knows if he even saw everything?
Right. So you're saying that somebody's even hiding something from him. That means that another person above
100%.
a shadow figure. That's
right. Like he goes into an office and has this perception that everything is a certain way, and he doesn't know. So then, of course, he's going to show up, and what he's saying is the truth to him, right? Because he even said from a limited. What did he say, Nick?
For the information that we have.
Well, they have it. Well, and
Right,
only
but
right now.
he's denoting that. You know what I'm saying? From the information that we have, I bet he didn't even see all of this stuff.
Well, I bet he saw some of it because the stuff that has been released, some say it's half, some say the Channel 4 News in the UK say it's 2% of what the total is. We don't know what the real number is. But so one of the things I want to look at is there anything in the files that suggests that Epstein trafficked young girls to other people other than himself, right? That's a big question that we should all have answered. And I'm not even looking. So there's within the files, there's the emails, right, between Epstein and a bunch of other people. But there's also like FBI tip stuff where people are saying crazy. This is where you see a lot of the Trump stuff is like people calling the tip line saying, I saw Trump do this, I saw Trump do that. So I'm like removing that stuff. I'm just going off the emails to say, look, does it look like? And there's one email chain between Epstein and Steve Tisch. And Steve Tisch is the owner of the New York Giants.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Shout out Jackson Dart.
And so go. So let's start at the bottom because this is let's do it in chronological order, right?
Okay.
I don't know if you want to read or you want me to read.
I don't know who to be. I guess I'll be Tish.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
And you be Epstein.
Yeah.
Hi, Jeffrey. I just had lunch with your assistant's friend, Blank, who I met at your house Wednesday morning. Very sweet girl. Do you know anything about her? Thanks, Steve.
And then Epstein says, no, but I will ask Blank, all confidential. I will get all info. Did you contact the great fake ass tit Blank? She's a character, short term, has an older boyfriend, going to acting school, a 10 ass. I am happy to have you as a new, but obviously shared interest friend.
Thanks, Jeffrey. Curious to know about Redacted. I will contact Redacted, pro or civilian. So that probably means sex worker or just a regular non-sex worker.
Right. And then the next thing is send me a number to call. I don't like records of these conversations, obviously.
Oh, 310-779-8969. I wonder if I already have it in my phone. No. Dude, if I already have it in my phone, bro, somebody's going to win a winter coat. That's what we're giving away this year, dude. If they allow us to have it. Is this stupid that I'm looking?
If you call, tell him we're live to tape.
Okay. Nope, nothing.
Okay. Close call.
Oh. Okay, sorry. So then Tish writes 310-779-8969.
I've reached out to Blank. She's not on this trip.
Okay. Thanks.
Thanks, yeah. And this is Epstein. Report just in. You did very well. She wants to go to the play. She's a little freaked out by the age difference, but go slow and wait. I will try to convince her not to return to Ukraine. Having her crying worked.
Okay. Nice report. Funny comment on crying. So trying to seem like he's not involved totally.
I don't know. It seems like, okay, so, I mean, it's a little bit disturbing with the crying. It's like, why were you having her cry? Like, was there some pressure involved?
Right, but it could have just been that she was upset about something as well.
Could have been, yes. There are, I guess, innocent explanations for this. But at the very least, this looks